Solving quadratic equations by factoring. This is where all your hard work of factoring comes in handy. So when we solve by factoring, you have to move all terms to one side so that it is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Factor the quadratic expression, and then you're going to set each factor equal to 0 and then solve for the variables. So the zero factor property, that's what we're going to look at. That's when you set each factor equal to 0. You're going to use the zero factor property, which states if you have a times b equals 0, then either a has to be 0 or b has to be 0 in order for this statement to be true. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. If we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0, we need to factor it, and it's already in the form that we need, where all our terms are to one side. So this one, since we have a coefficient of 1, we can get right to our factors. Factors of 6 that add to 5, that's going to be a positive 3 and a positive 2. So we'll have x plus 3 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. If we subtract the 3, we'll have x equals negative 3. Subtract the 2, we will have x equals negative 2. So this will be our answer. So if we plug in negative 3 into our value, this side will equal 0. If we plug in negative 2 for this, for the x, then we will have 0 equals 0. Three x squared plus 6x equals 0. So if we are in the terms of x squared, so we do need to factor, and we can factor out a greatest common factor of 3x. We have x plus 2 remaining. So we'll have 3x equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0. Divide the 3 and x equals 0. Subtract the 2 and x equals negative 2. From here, a lot of students do not write it out. They can simply say or see, oh, x has to be 0 here and x has to be negative 2 here, and that is fine. If you don't need to write this step out, you can simply say x equals 0, x equals negative 2. 10x squared minus 35 equals 65x. Okay, so this is not set up equal to 0, so we are going to subtract the 65x over and write it in order. Okay, so we have x squared, x, and then no x. We can factor a 5, so that we have 2x squared minus 13x minus 7 equals 0. This 5, if you divide the 5 away, it absorbs, if you must, into the 0. Or if you set each of these factors equal to 0, 5 equals 0 is a false statement, so we just ignore it. So either way, we don't really need this 5. What we need to do is solve for the inside here. So 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. We'll have negative 14 plus 1 to get to our negative 13. And typically I do this part off to the side, so I'm not messing up anything here, but this one works out okay for me to work it in my original work. Factor out a 1 since we do not have anything to factor, so we'll have 2x plus 1, x minus 7 equals 0. So right off I can see my x equals positive 7. This one I'm going to solve. I'm going to write off to the side and solve it, because sometimes my signs get off. So x equals negative 1/2 as well. So x equals 7 or negative half. (10x squared minus 26x equals negative 12). Again, this one is not set up in standard form, so we are going to add 12 to both sides. So 10x squared minus 26x plus 12 equals 0. We are going to factor, and a greatest common factor of 2 will come out. So we have 5x squared minus 13x plus 6 equals 0. 5 times 6 equals 30. So factors of 30 that add to negative 13. 6 and 5 won't work. 3 and 10 will work. And if we make them both negative, again, the 2 equals 0, or divide by 2 to both sides, that will cancel that 2 out. Since we do not have a variable with it, it just disappears essentially, or you can divide it out. So we'll have x factored out. We have 5x minus 3. Factor out a negative 2 so that we have a 5x minus 3. And then we have 5x minus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0. Again, we can see right away x equals 2. This one may need a little work. So we have 5x equals 3, divide by 5 when we solve. So 3 over 5. So this is our answer for that problem. This concludes this video.